Yeah. मंगलमय मंगल करण वीतराग विज्ञान नमो ताहि जाते भये अरिहंतादि महान
Thank you.
करि मंगल
No.
करि हो महा ग्रंथ करन को काज जाते मिले समाज सब पावे निज पद राज. So we are on to Moksha Marg Prakashak Ji Granth, 8th chapter. And last time we did was methodology of exposition of Pratmanu Yoga.
So,
Okay, I made you a co-host. In case if you are comfortable, you can share the textbook. Methodology of exposition of Karnani Yoga, that is where we are going to start today. So there are 6 points in it. We will be reading one point by one point. So the first point starts with the first paragraph itself. Now the style of exposition in Karnani Yoga is being described. So we know a little bit of Karnani Yoga as we have studied earlier, that in Karnani Yoga there are three major branches that are coming under it. One is the different types of varieties of Jeev, Gunasthan, Marganasthan, then Jeev Samas. All these are different varieties of Jeev. Then the next is different varieties of karma. There are 10 aspects of karma, then there are 8 major karmas, then their divisions and subdivisions put together, there are 148 subcategories. And the third part is the description on the three worlds, how many layers of hell, 7 layers of hell, and 14 or 16, I think 16 Swarg, 16 hellish levels of. So all these form part of three worlds. Okay. So all these are very subtle things. It cannot be comprehended by our limited sensory and scriptural knowledge. It is known by the omniscient, and omniscient has passed on through his sermons, Divya Dwani, to Gandhar, Gandhar to Acharyas, and Acharyas and Acharyas, and in that lineage, it has come to us in the form of Jinvani. Okay. So, whatever Karnan Yoga says, that cannot be proved. You have to just believe it according to the scriptures that we have got. Okay. So Karnan Yoga describes very subtle things, which is otherwise not comprehended by our limited knowledge. So this is the methodology in short of the Karnan Yoga. Now, what are the salient features of those that we are going to discuss? 6 points in all. First point, Amitaji, you start reading.
Is Hemali sharing the book?
sir, I have some issue with my computer. My husband is fixing it. Sir,
Okay.
can somebody else start? I'll just share it in 2-3 minutes. I know Amitaji doesn't have the textbook.
Okay.
Or shall I read it?
Rekha will read. Rekha,
Sorry for the trouble, Hemali.
No, I'm sorry. I don't know. Somehow there's a problem with the speakers over here. So I've just.
Madhuji?
Sir, page number बोल दीजिए ना. I'm not able to spot it.
391. You have the textbook with you, right?
Yeah, जी, I have the text. One minute. I'll read. Yeah. Methodology of exposition of Kananu Yoga.
Right.
Now, the style of exposition in Kananu Yoga is being described. Am I audible?
Yes.
Yeah. The description found in Kananu Yoga is as known in omniscience, though all is known in omniscience, yet only that which is useful to Jiva. Example, the relationship of Jiva, karmas, etc., and cosmology that is universe, etc., are described here in this Anuyog. Even all details of them cannot be described. Therefore, whatever could be possibly described in words and could be known and perceived in omniscience knowledge is described in an abridged form. For example, the gunasthans, that is, spiritual stages, are described from the viewpoint of instincts and dispositions of the jivas. Those dispositions, being infinite, can be described through words. Therefore, by combining many dispositions into one category, 14
Cannot be. You have cannot be
one
described.
cannot be, yeah, I'm wrong. Yeah, sorry, sir. Cannot be described through words. Therefore, by combining many dispositions into one category, 14 gunasanas are specified. And there are various ways of knowing the jivas, but only main 14 marganas, that is quest places, are specified. Although karmic matter, that is atoms, possesses infinite potency, yet in them, by combining many atoms into one category, the 8 types of main prakritis, that is karmas, and 148 subdivisions of them are described. And in the universe, that is the three worlds, many objects are found, but herein some of the main objects with their details are described. And pramana, that is measure, is of infinite kinds. The the sankhyat, that is numerable, etc. Three main divisions and further 21 divisions of these are specified. In the same way, one should one should know elsewhere, although the spatiality
Stop.
carried.
So this
Yes,
is the end of the first point, okay? Although the spatiality is the second point, then the next paragraph is third point. Then we have fourth point, next paragraph, which is divided into four divisions. A, B, C, D, continuous paragraph. Then we have fifth point. Then after two paragraphs, we have sixth point, okay? So we will discuss the first point. So the exposition in Karnan Yoga, as we have already seen, three things, major descriptions are there. Different varieties of Jeev. Okay. So though all is known in omniscience, yet only that which is useful to Jiva. This is now something very good to understand, that in the knowledge of omniscience, everything is reflecting. But here in the scriptures, it is only described that much, that which us persons like us can comprehend. Okay, that which is useful to jiva, example, the relationship of jiva and karmas, how jiva is bounded by karma since time immemorial, and what is the way out, how he can get rid of these karmas. All these are defined. Okay, now this is very important for the jiva. So this is defined. And cosmology, universe, three worlds are described here in this Yanuyog. Even all details of them cannot be described. Therefore, whatever could be possibly described in words, then most important point, and could be known and perceived in non-omniscient knowledge. So we are all non-omniscient. Okay. So what could be known and perceived in non-omniscient knowledge is described in an abridged form. For example, the Gunasthan are described from the viewpoint of instincts and disposition of the jivas. Those dispositions being infinite cannot be described through words. Therefore, by combining many dispositions into one category, 14 gunasthans are specified. Okay. And similarly, 14 Marganasthans are also specified. Marganasthans are the quest places, places where jeeves are found. Those are called quest places, and those are also 14 in number, Marganasthans. Although karmic matter atoms possesses infinite potency, yet in them, by combining many atoms into one category, The eight major types are described, and their 148 subdivisions are also described. Coming to the third point, and in the universe, three worlds, many objects are found. But herein, some of the main objects with their details are described. And Praman is what? Measurement. Is of infinite kinds. Okay. The Sankhyat, etc. Three main divisions. So what are the three main divisions? Sankhyat, Asankhyat, Anant. Sankhyat is countable, Asankhyat is uncountable, and Anant is infinite. Now, how do you define Sankhyat? That which can be comprehended by sensory and scriptural knowledge is called Sankhyat. And that which cannot be comprehended by scriptural and sensory knowledge but can be known by clairvoyance and telepathy. Avdigyan and Manaparyagyan are called asankhyat, and those that are only known by the omniscient knowledge, that is called infinite. So three categories, okay? And further 21 divisions. Now if you divide these three again, there are 21 divisions, okay? So all these are part of Karna Niyog. Second point. So second point is all about spatiality, that is the space, point, kshetra, then time, samay, then bhav. Bhav is qualities or attributes, modes, etc. of the substance are indivisible. Okay. Nevertheless, with the object that the non-omniscient may also attain some knowledge of the substance in Karnan Yoga by imagining the divisions like spatial units, pradesh, time unit, samay, unit measuring the degree of quality manifested, avibhag pratiched. Avibhag means the smallest undivisible part is called avibhag. Now no further divisions can be done. Okay. And those are called the Shakti. They are called praticheds. Okay. It's an unit of course, the attributes. Okay. Are described. And one and the same substance is described by making divisions of different gunas, attributes, and paryais. Okay. Gun and modifications. Although the jivas and the pudgal are separate substance, independent substance, no connections with each other, both are independent in itself. One substance does not do anything for the other substance. Okay. Nevertheless, through the instrumentality of relationship, bondage, etc., the gati, the state of existence, produced out of many substances, the jati category, etc., divisions, like jati, one sensed, two sensed, three sensed, are described to be of one jeev only. All these expositions should be known to be with the prominence of conventional standpoint, vyavhar nahi, because details and specialities cannot be understood without vyavhar nahi. Now, if you see, the substance in itself is indivisible. Okay. But when you divide it, then the conventional viewpoint sets in. Okay. So far it is indivisible. It becomes a part of the knowledge of the real point of view. But the moment you divide it into gunas and pratyais for better understanding, it becomes vyavhar. Okay. So abhed, so nischay. Bhed, so vyavhar. The moment you divide it, it becomes a vyavhar. The moment it's a consolidated one, indivisible one, then it forms a part of Nischay. Okay, and at some places the description is found from Nischay standpoint also. For example, Praman, numerical measures of jivas, etc. So jiv, matter, medium of motion, medium of rest, space, time. Okay. So for example, Praman of jivas, etc. substances are described. How many quantity of jiv, how many pudgal, how many dharma, akash, kal. The separate substances are that much only. All these are very well defined. One should know them appropriately. Okay. So this is another specialty of Karnan Yoga, that things are indivisible, but by dividing it and explaining, the knowledge of that particular substance evolves. Okay. So Karnan Yoga divides those indivisible substances into divisions and subdivisions, and all these are very subtle explanation. This only can be known by the omniscient, and through his sermons we are knowing it. So most of the statements are from Vyavharnay, because when you divide an individual being, it becomes a conventional viewpoint. Okay, and some are also real point of view, right? Like substances, 6 types of substances, then each substance, its quantity. All these are Karnan Yoga's description. Now the third point. Okay, so many statements given in Karnan Yoga are comprehensible by non-omniscient directly. Okay, like we can see that this is laptop, this is my book, this is my pen. Okay, or through inference. Inference means anuman. Okay, so there is a proper sequence in sensory knowledge. It starts with memory, then connecting knowledge, then smriti, pratyabhigyan, tark, logic, and then inference, anuman. After inference, you enter the phase of self-realization. Okay, so in Karnan Yoga, many statements are given in Karnan Yoga are comprehensible by non-omniscient, like people like us. Okay, directly or through inference, and those which are not so comprehensible should be believed as per Jina's commandment. Why? Because those are not comprehensible. We cannot make out. Our knowledge is very limited. So we cannot make out. So we have to believe it as per Jina's commandments. The scriptures has mentioned everything. And those scriptures have been coming through source of omniscient only. Okay. So there is no question of doubting anything, but at the same time, which is not comprehensible from our knowledge, that we can always know from the scriptures. Okay, because these scriptures have come through the omniscient only, so there is no reason that we should not believe it. Okay, so that much faith we should have on the omniscience. The embodied forms of human beings, etc., which are the gross and longer lasting combined modifications of Jeev and Pudgals. Okay, so the embodied forms of human beings, it has got two components. One is the body, another is the soul. Both put together we call it human, subhuman, hellish being, heaven being, and the jars because of the matter substance. Okay, etc. Modes of matter can be known directly or through inference. Okay, some things we can know directly and something through inference, but the degree of knowledge, etc., that is knowledge, etc., are the attributes of the soul, and smooth rough attributes are the attributes of the matter. Both are being discussed, which are described from the viewpoint of subtle changes taking place every moment. Every moment there is a transformation in each of the substances. Okay, are known only by Jina's commandment. Likewise, one should know elsewhere also. So whatever is described in Karnan Yoga, third point I put emphasis on, so that some things you are able to comprehend through your limited knowledge, and something you have to believe from the omniscient knowledge. Okay, there is no other way. Okay, so something we believe, we see and believe it, and something we cannot prove it, but we have to believe the language of the omniscient. Okay, and that's how we know about many subtle things which otherwise would not have been possible through our limited knowledge. Now, fourth point has 4a, b, c, d, 4 paragraph in continuation. So now, Hemali, you can read 2 points, 4a and 4b, 2 paragraphs.
Sir, can you hear me?
Yeah,
Or are you getting an echo?
no,
Okay. Further, in Kannanu Yoga, the description is not done according to the proclivity of non-omniscient, but is done of the substances known in Keval Gyan. For example, many Jeeves contemplate on the nature of substances and observe vows, etc. But they do not possess the internal power of right belief and right conduct. Therefore, they are called misbelievers and incontinent, that is, vowless persons. On the other hand, many Jeeves neither contemplate on the nature of the substance nor follow vows and either indulge in other acts or remain asleep thoughtlessly, but they possess the power of right belief, etc. Therefore, they are called right believers and votaries, continent persons.
stop. So this is the 4a point. We will discuss this, then we will move on to 4b. Okay. Further in Kannan Yoga, the description is not done according to the proclivity of non-omniscient. What is proclivity? Proclivity is the activity of the people like us, non-omniscients, but is done of the substances known in Keval Gyan. Okay. So what is known in Keval Gyan, accordingly the activity, our activity, okay, of the activities of the non-omniscient. Okay. So description is not done according to the proclivity of non-omniscience, but is done of the substances known in Keval Gyan, omniscience. For example, many jivas contemplate on the nature of substance and observe vows, etc. But they do not possess the internal power of right belief and right conduct. Okay. Therefore, they are called misbelievers and incontinent vowless persons. On the other hand, many jivas neither contemplate on the nature of substance nor follows vows, etc., and either indulge in other acts or remain asleep thoughtlessly. Negligence behavior. But they possess the power of right belief, etc. Therefore, they are called right believers and votaries, continent person. Okay. So, in Karnan Yoga, the description is not done according to the activity of the common people, but is done of the substances known in Keval Gyan, omniscience knowledge. Okay. So, from the outer activity, you may not be able to recognize a learned scholar. Okay. So, Karnan define all those things where you cannot make out from outside, because Charnan says about outside activities. So that is Charnan that will come in the next point, Charnan. But here we are describing Karnan. So here the description is done according to the proclivity of non-omniscient, is not done according to the proclivity of the non-omniscience, but is done of the substances known in Keval Gyan. So those are very subtle. Okay. So although a person who is a learned, right believer, he may not have, he may not be indulging in many auspicious activities as prescribed in our religion. But nevertheless, they possess the power of right belief, and therefore they are called right believers and votaries. Now, 4b.
So I have a question over here.
Yes.
Sir, but if they are not contemplating on the nature of the substances,
Hmm.
and it says they remain asleep thoughtlessly, they
Hmm.
indulge in acts.
Hmm.
Sir, how come they are right believers?
So they are right believer by sheer decision making power that they have done, okay, and through which they have manifested the right belief.
So you're saying in the previous birth?
No, this birth only. This birth only, okay, because from outside it you will not be able to recognize them, right? So that's what they are saying, that on the other hand many jivas neither contemplate on the nature of substances nor follow vows. Now vows is something that you could see something externally, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
And either indulge in other acts, that means which are non-religious acts, or remain asleep thoughtlessly, but they possess the power of right belief. Now this, how do you identify that he is possessing the power of right belief or not? So this is described all as per omniscient. Omniscient knows that he is a right believer. We don't know. Okay. So omniscient knows it that he is a right believer. Therefore, they are called the right believers. So Karnan Yoga will define whether your delusion has gone or not. If the delusion has gone, then Karnan Yoga will say he is the right believer. Okay.
Sir,
From Charnan Yoga, if I say the same thing, then I will see the activities, outside activities. Now he is going to temple every day, he is doing swadhyay, he is donating, he is doing vows. So I will say he is a right believer. Charnan Yoga will say he is a right believer.
Correct.
Although from Karnan Yoga, he may not be a right believer. Okay. So each exposition has its own methodology of describing things. Now you have to understand what you are reading. So same thing, if it is being said from Charnan Yoga, they will interpret in a different manner. Okay. So each exposition has got its own unique way of expressing things. Now, if you know its methodology, then you will be able to comprehend in the right sense. Otherwise, you will see somebody going to temple every day and you will say he is a right believer, although he is a right believer from Charnan Yoga, but from Karnan Yoga and from Dravyan Yoga. Out of these four exposition, Karnan Yoga's right belief is the actual right belief that we are going to discuss tomorrow. Okay. But nevertheless, each exposition has got its unique way of expressing, and what we are studying right now is different ways by which Karnan Yoga expresses things. So Karnan Yoga expresses thing by not from the outer activities, but the inner transformation that has happened. Okay. And that is very subtle. It's just known by the omniscient only and the person who is undergoing through that. Other people cannot comprehend that.
But
sir,
sir, I still have a doubt.
Yeah.
Sir, but if he was a right believer, I'm
No.
asking you the other way around now. If he was a right believer, then he wouldn't indulge in acts or remain asleep thoughtlessly, no?
See, you don't go to the acts. Acts
yes,
the Charnan Yoga will see. Okay. Here Karnan Yoga will define according to the inner transformations that has happened. The
sir,
karmas, the consequent karmas going away, and because of that there is some transformation happening in the soul's modification. All these Karnan Yoga will define from its own terminology. Okay. Like as I said, Karnan Yoga Samyak Darshan is what? You have to get rid of Mithyatva. Right. So how do you know that Mithyatva is gone or not? Only you can know it and the omniscient can know it. Okay. So Karnan Yoga will depict in this way and Charnan Yoga will see from outside. So different expositions have different terminologies, different methodologies to express.
sir,
Hmm.
So
So,
after this Parmavagam course,
Hmm.
at least we have become right believers. तो करनान योग के हिसाब से we are right believers. क्योंकि internally तो हम में काफी changes आए हैं. But we've not got into
See,
the activities.
it's a
that's right.
process. Yeah, that's what it is saying, that even if you don't have activities, because in the
Mhm.
fourth stage, you are not supposed to observe the vows. Vows, Anuvrat are at fifth stage, right? So first thing is that you believe that you are yourself a pure soul and you are only a knower and not doer. right?
Mhm.
This much decision making if you do, you become a right believer.
So,
And
sir, it is
one
the
more thing,
practicality, no, sir?
even if you don't believe, still you are a soul only. The matter of fact does not go away. It remains the same whether you believe it or don't believe it. You are by default a soul, pure soul, devoid of this body, devoid of these karmas. These are all external substances. You are the pure soul, only a knower. You are now caged in this body. Now when your age gets over, you will assume another body. You will get into another body. The journey goes on. The soul is eternal. It never gets destroyed. It is never born. Okay. So the Karnan Yug's descriptions are very subtle, which we cannot comprehend with our limited knowledge. What we could see is outside activities, and those outside activities are well defined in Charnan Yoga. So Charnan Yoga Samyak Drashti and Karnan Yoga Samyak Drashti are two different entities. Entities in the sense two different concepts to identify. Okay. So here we are discussing Karnan Yoga. So here it says, although he may not be following vows, okay, and either he may not indulge in some religious acts, or he may sleep thoughtlessly, but they possesses the power of right belief, so they are called the right believers. So now who possesses the power? That is something that that person only knows and the omniscient knows. Okay. Other people cannot make out. A 8-year boy who has done something in the past. Okay. Now he is born in your family and you consider the bachcha hai, bachcha hai, bachcha hai. But when he attains the age of 8, he may manifest right belief. But you never know. You still consider him a kid. But because of his past connection, because of his past impressions, he is just listening to somebody and he manifests right belief. Now forget about the humans, the subhumans, the lion, the Jatayu, then the elephant, all they manifested right belief in subhuman state only. So how do you identify that this crow is a right believer? It's very difficult. So Karnan Yoga will define all these things, that oh, he has manifested this power, so he's a right believer, irrespective of his outer appearance. Okay. So fourth stage, it is very difficult to identify because there are no wars, right? So a fourth stage seeker and a wrong believer seeker, outer activity will be the same. So only Karnan Yoga will able to define that. Okay.
Okay, sir, I understood now. Thank you.
Sir, I
Yeah.
have a question. If
Hmm.
you're not able to follow all the activities,
Hmm.
practical, so you remain in the fourth stage?
Yeah,
Uh,
vows are not compulsory, but for the fourth stage, you need to believe that you are a pure soul,
that's
and
true.
your function is to know and see. You don't
Hmm.
go beyond that. Now,
Yeah,
if you are able to understand that and you are able to take a decision on that, arrive at a conclusion to that, then you are a right believer.
true.
So,
So,
who is a right believer? In Sem5, verse number 75, the one who doesn't become a doer is a right believer. They defined it that way. How do you identify that he is a right believer? So they give a very diplomatic answer, So the one who doesn't become a doer, he is a right believer. This is Kunkunda Acharya saying in verse number 75 of Sem5, that how do you identify one who is a enlightened soul? So that one who doesn't become a doer, he is an enlightened soul. So simple definition. So different exposition will have different methodology to express the same thing. That is what we are going to study tomorrow. Samyak Darshan from 4 exposition is what I am going to explain tomorrow. Okay. So there you will have further insight. Now let's continue here. 4B. Then 4C and 4D. Okay, Malteji, you
Shall I
read. Malti ji will read.
Yes, sir.
Hmm.
Further, some Jeev is found indulging more in passional acts, but possess feeble internal passional power. Therefore, he is called a feeble passion person. And some Jeev is found indulging less in passional activities, but possess intense internal passional power. So he is called a highly passionate person. For example, the peripatetic gods, Vyantars, destroy the town, etc. by passions. Nevertheless, they are stated to possess Pithlesha. Due to feeble passional power, they are stated to possess Pith leisure due to feeble passional power. And the one-sensed etc. beings are not seen indulging in passional acts, yet they are stated to possess Krishna leishyas, etc. due to intense passional power. And the devas of Sarvat Siddhi are found indulging very less in passions, but they are called incontinent because they possess more passional power. And the jiva of fifth gunasthan indulges more in passional acts like business, sex, etc. And yet he is stated to possess partial continence or conduct because of feeble passional power. Likewise, one should know at other places.
Stop.
Further,
Stop. So you see, in the first was it was about the right belief and the wrong belief. Now in the second paragraph they are considering the passional power. Now this passional power we cannot recognize from outside. Karnanyo can define that one who is having intense passional power, okay, they are binding more karmas, okay, although their outside activities are very less. And another person whose outside activities is very much, but internally his passional power are very less, so he is binding less karmas, okay. So this kind of combinations is best understood through Karnan Yoga only. Charnan Yoga will see outside activity, but Kantan Yoga actually measures your internal passional power. Okay, so the example given here that the Sarvat Siddhi Dev, okay, they are found indulging in very less in passion, okay, because Sarvat Siddhi Dev, who goes to Sarvat Siddhi Dev, you know, all the monks who are the true monks, they only end up going in those places, Sarvat Siddhi Dev. And you know, there are no apsaras, they are all brahmacharis, and they all the time discusses religious talks only, okay, but they have very less passion power, okay. They are found indulging very less in passions, but they are called incontinental, asanyami. Why? Because they are spiritual stages, fourth only, they cannot go beyond fourth, okay, you heavenly beings, because they possess more passional power, okay. And the jeev of fifth gunasthan indulgence more in passional acts like business, sex, etc. Fifth stage, fifth stage, not fourth stage, fifth stage. Yet he is stated to possess partial continence or conduct because of feeble passional power. So it all depends on your internal powers, you know, internal powers. So the first paragraph was discussing right belief, that was connected to delusion. The second paragraph is connected with your passional power. High passional power, low stage. More passional power, your stage is low. Less passional power, stage is high. Okay. So depends on the spiritual stage which you are in. So the fifth stage spiritual, although he is indulging in business, but he is still considered a partial, he has got partial continence. संयम है उनके जीवन में, okay, partial संयम है, not a full संयम, but partial संयम. So in Karnan Yoga, the internal power matters most, okay, not your external activity. You are not judged by your external activity in Karnan Yoga, okay. Charnan Yoga will judge you according to your external quantity. They are least concerned whether you are a right believer or wrong believer. Your external activities are in tune with a right believer, will be considered right believer. Your external quantities are not in tune with that, will be considered wrong believer, okay. So different expositions have different methodology. Now going into same lines, the third point is also about that the one who possesses more power of attracting karmas, okay, he is supposed to have more yogas. Now these yogas are the vibrational activity. You know, when there is a person who is sitting on meditation, okay, he is not indulging in any external activity. He is in a meditation pose, his eyes are closed, and he is static from outside. He is not moving his hand here and there, okay. He is in a meditation pose. Now, at that point of time, if he has got a thought which is very revolutionary, then his vibrational activity of the soul space becomes very high. From outside, somebody would see him and say, oh, he's so patiently indulging in meditation. But internally, he is attracting more karmas because of his thought activity. Okay. So the bondages are done through the mind, speech, and body activities. So speech and body, no activity, but mind is very active, different kinds of thoughts, unwanted thoughts, and is binding many karmas. Okay. So the third point says that the activity of mind, speech, and body of some jiva is found to be less, yet is stated to possess more yoga. More yoga here means vibratory activity. Okay. Because of power of attracting the karmas. So again, it depends on the power of attracting the karmas. One may be found indulging in too much in external activities. Bharat Chakravarti, who is fighting his enemies, okay, so he is in the battlefield, so external activities are too much. Nevertheless, he is stated to possess less yoga due to weak power. He is a right believer. He has got rid of the Anantanubandhi Kashai. Okay. So from outside he is fighting, but internally the first level of passion is not there. Okay. So that matters. For example, through the omniscient, though the omniscient is not having any activity of the moment, nevertheless he is stated to possess more yoga because of that vibratory activity. Okay. The two-sensed being makes movement from here and there, etc. Yet they are stated to have less yoga. So in the same way, one should know elsewhere. So what matters is the power of attracting the karmas. Now this power of attracting karmas is only comprehended or expressed in Karna Yoga. Okay. So these Karna Yogas and descriptions are similar types of things. Okay. Now the 4D. Further, that which is not seen apparently, from outside it is not seen, nevertheless it is stated to be present there because of presence of subtle power. Now again, a monk who is meditating in the 7th stage, or he may be in the 8th stage, okay, he could have rise of passions for sex. Now he is already into meditation. How he can do such activities? But Karna Yoga says that something not seen apparently from outside, but because of presence of subtle power, he is supposed to be involved in that. Okay. So all these things, uh, everyone mute. I think Himali,
Yes.
your
Echo.
echo, yeah. Okay, no problem. So again, Himali, unmute, not unmute, mute yourself. Yes.
So I'm on mute, but
Yeah, now you are mute. I've done it, seen it. Okay. Further, are you are from 2 connections? Okay. Acha. Further, that which is not seen apparently, nevertheless, it is stated to be present there because of presence of subtle power. Now, this subtle power could be comprehended through Karna Yoga only. For example, the true monk is not found indulging in any sexual activity, but the inner instinct for copulation, only the instinct, only the desire, is not indulging in any activity. only the inner instinct is supposed to be present up to the 9th Gunasthan. Now 7th onwards, the monks are always meditating. They are in the pure introspective meditation. Okay. But this kind of extinct Maithun Sangya, this is called Maithun Sangya. So it has got presence up to the 9th stage. So we cannot deny that although it cannot be seen from outside. From outside, the monk is only in meditation pose. Okay. But Karnan Yoga will say that he has this in his at the mind level. The cause of misery is not apparent in Ahmindra. Nevertheless, rarely the rise of asatha pain producing karma is stated to be present there. Okay. Similarly, one should know elsewhere. So Karnan Yoga defines all these subtle powers, okay, which otherwise could not be comprehended from outside. Yeah,
So, sir,
Amitaji, sorry for keep you waiting. I thought I will
Sir, I
finish.
have a question.
Yes.
So I'm reading from my Hindi book.
Okay.
And 4C, it says, जैसे केवली गमनादि क्रिया रहित हुए, वहां भी उनके योग बहुत कहा है.
So this yoga is Shakti Bhut Yoga. Okay.
Oh, I see.
Shakti Bhut Yoga. So this Shakti Bhut here, it is mentioned as power of attracting karmas. That depends on the Shakti Bhut Yoga. So outside, the Aryant is not doing any activity. Not any activity at the speech level, not any activity at the body level, but at the mind level. Okay. There is intense vibrational activity. And because of that, he is said to be possess more yoga. So that is Shakti Bhut Yoga. That is Shakti Bhut Yoga. That is the power.
So they are attracting more karma?
Yeah.
Oh,
but they are not binding because they have conquered the passions. So they are not having new bondage. The Iryapat Asrav, it is called Iryapat Asrav. Okay. It like if you put a dry mud on a wall, it doesn't stick, right? It falls down. Similarly, Aryan Bhagwan, because of this vibrational activity, he is attracting karmas. But because the passions are zero, there are no passions, so no new bondage are happening.
I see. That makes sense. Thank you, sir.
Okay. Madhuji, what you want to ask?
So his Gunastan does not fall
No.
because he's a right believer.
No, we are talking about Aryant, omniscient stage, at the 13th stage. He is at the 13 stages.
Ye wala, sir. But the inner instinct of copulation is stated to be present in him up to the 9th Gunasthan.
Yeah, but he is in the 6th, 7th now. And he could be up to 9th. Up to 9th, this exists. This exist means this exists at the desire level.
Right.
And not at the activity level, okay? So
So
thoughts could arise. Thoughts could arise. But he's practicing discriminative knowledge. He's not carried away by those thoughts. That is his strength. So Karnan Yoga will define that it is up to 9th. This could be present up to 9th. But that doesn't mean that those things happen in their life. Okay? But it could happen. It could happen.
Right. Yes, sir. Thank you.
Okay. Now the 5th point. Rekha, you would read?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
This is 4th point, sir.
Fifth. Further, the Karnan Yoga describes the right belief, knowledge.
Yeah. Further, the Karnan Yoga describes the right belief, knowledge, conduct, etc., religion with the relativity of subsidence, etc., of the karma prakritis, and with their subtle power with reference to different gunasthanas. And it also describes the jeev, etc. Tattvas with their minute details and classifications, etc., which are the cause of right belief, etc. Here, if someone tries to make effort, according to Karnani Yoga, it cannot be possible. The main object of Karnani Yoga is to describe the true nature of substances. There is no prominence of putting anything into practice. Therefore, one should follow the conduct as per Charnanu Yoga, etc. Due to which, whatever is to happen happens automatically. For example, if one wishes to subside the karmas, how can he do it? One should rather make effort to ascertaining the tattvas, etc., owing to which substantial, etc., form of right belief is evolved of its own. Similarly, one should know elsewhere.
Continue.
Yeah. In one Antarmurat, a monk falling from 11th Gunasthan gradually becomes a false believer, and again by ascending the ladder of destruction of karma, he evolves Kevalgyan, omniscience. Such subtle disposition of right belief, etc., are not the subject of comprehension. Therefore, one should know the nature of substances as per the Karnanu Yoga, but follow such conduct knowingly which is beneficial.
So this is the end of point number 5. Here again, the subtle power, okay, internal subtle power, that which cannot be comprehended from outside, is again here discussed. Okay, so Karnanyuk describes the right belief, knowledge, conduct, okay, etc., religion with the relativity of the substance, etc. Upsham, Shayopsham, and Shai of karma prakritis. Okay, there are 3 types of right belief: Upsham, Shayopsham, and Shaik. And with their subtle power with reference to different gunasthans. Okay, so a 4th will have certain level of subsidence, then 5th will have further, like that. And it also describes the jiva, etc., tattvas, 7 fundamental elements, with their minute details and classifications, etc., which are the cause of right belief, etc. Here, if someone tries to make effort according to Karnan Yoga, it cannot be possible. The main object of Karnan Yoga is to describe the true nature of substances as it is. There is no prominence of putting anything into practice. Okay. Therefore, one should follow the conduct as per Charnan Yoga and not as per Karnan Yoga. Because from Karnan Yoga it is not possible. Because Karnan Yoga explains very subtle things. Okay. So the conduct will not be according to that. Due to which whatever is to happen happens automatically. For example, if one wishes to subside the karma, how we can do it? Karma itself is a matter substance and I am a soul substance. So how can I subside the karmas? But Karnan Yoga will say that one should rather make effort for ascertaining the tattvas. Okay, so you put in your efforts for knowing the tattvas in a better way. You make your knowledge very sharper so that you can grasp the essence of each tattvas, owing to which substantial, etc., form of right belief is evolved of its own. So you cannot do anything in the karma prakritis. So what you have in terms of efforts is just you study, contemplate, and come at a decision. This much only is your role. Now, for right belief to evolve, the karma prakriti, mithyatva karma prakriti has to go. Either it has to be completely destroyed, or subsidence come destruction. 3 types of samyak darshans are there: upsham, shayopsham, and shaik. Okay, so that will automatically evolve. You don't have any role directly to play in the subsidence of karma. So what you have is what you do at your end, and whatever happens in the karma, it happens on its own. There the soul doesn't have a direct saying on that. Okay. Now see the example. In one antarmurat, that is less than any period less than 48 minutes is called antarmurat. It's given in the footnote. You can see. Okay. In one antarmurat, when within 48 minutes, a monk falling from the 11th gunasthan. Okay. So he has moved higher and higher up to 11th. Since it was a upsham shreni, he has to compulsorily fall. So he fell down and gradually became a false believer. That means he fell down from 11 to 10 to 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, then to 1. He became a misbeliever, became a false believer, and again by ascending the ladder of destruction of karmas, Sapakshani. Now he has ascended the Sapakshani. So 8, 9, 10, 12, 13. He evolves Keval Gyan. Now everything happening in 48 minutes. From outside, what he is doing? He is into meditation pose. But internally, so much activity has happened. Now, who can comprehend this? Nobody. Nobody. Okay. And in certain cases, even that monk doesn't know, because he's fully concentrated on the self. So he is least concerned whether he is at the 7th stage or at the 4th stage. Okay. He is least concerned. But things happen automatically. And he knows that I am not the doer of things. Such things have to happen. So it's happening. I don't mind. Okay. Such subtle disposition of right belief, etc., are not the subject of comprehension. Okay. Nobody can know about that. Therefore, one should know the nature of substances as per the Karnani Yoga, but follow such conduct knowingly, which is beneficial. Okay. So, according to Karnani Yoga, whatever is depicted or described, activity cannot be of that level. Okay. Activity will be according to Charnan Yoga, what is possible at which Gunasthan you are in. Now, supposing I am at a 4th stage and I believe that I should meditate like a monk. It is not possible. For that, you have to become a monk. Then only you can have that. Okay. So, what is possible at your end that you do? So, Karna Yoga defines all these things, that there are some things which you cannot literally do anything in that. So, you do what is possible at your level. Rest, you leave it. Everything will happen automatically. Now, 6A, B, C. We have 3 points in 6. And Amitaji, you read.
Thank you, Emily. And in Karuna Yoga, also at some places, the exposition is found with emphasis on preaching. So that should not be believed in its totality. For example, making effort for injury, etc., is called kumatignan, perverse sensory knowledge. Study of scriptures of other religions is called kushrutignan, perverse scriptural knowledge. Also, perceiving bad aspect and not receiving good aspect, not perceiving good aspect is called vibhanga gyan, perverse clairvoyance. All these things are preached, so for forsaking them. From subtle point of view, thank you, Emily, knowledge of a true believer is a right knowledge. Similarly, one should know elsewhere. And if somewhere general statements are found, the same should not be treated as a correct degree to degree. For example, the circumference is described to be 3 times of the diameter, but minutely speaking, it is somewhat more than 3 times. Likewise, one should know elsewhere. And somewhere, the exposition is found from the predominance point of view. The same should not be taken as stated in all respects. For example, the jivas of Mithya Drishti Gunasthanak, that is first Gunstan, and of Sasadhan Gunstan, that is second Gunstan, are described as Pap jivas, vicious souls. The jivas of the fourth Gunsthana, that is vowless right believers, etc., are described as Punya jivas, virtuous souls. This is stated from the predominance point of view, but minutely speaking, both the types of jivas may be further found in smaller or greater measure, having virtuous and vicious dispositions. Similarly, one should know elsewhere. In the same way, many other different descriptions are found. The same should be known appropriately. Thus, the methodology of exposition in Karunano Yoga is concluded. Thank you, Hemali.
So 6A.
Thank you
First,
so much. Just
6A.
having a lot of technical problem with the computer today.
No problem. So, and in Karnataka, at some places, the exposition is found with emphasis on preachings. So, emphasis is on preaching, so that should not be believed in its totality. Okay. Example. For example, making effort for injury. Injury here means violence, hinsa, the five kinds of sins. Hinsa, jhoot, chori, kushil, and parigra. Okay. For example, making effort for injury, etc. is called kumati gyan. So we have three types of false knowledges: kumati gyan, kushrut gyan, and ku avdi gyan. Okay. So these examples are given. For example, making effort for injury, that is all kinds of sins, is called kumati gyan. Perverse sensory knowledge. Study of scriptures of other religion is called kushud gyan. Perverse scriptural knowledge. Always perceiving bad aspect and not perceiving good aspect is called vibhanga gyan. Perverse clairvoyance. All these are preached so for forsaking them. These are being preached for forsaking them, not to adopt them. Okay. From the subtle point of view, all knowledge of a true believer is right knowledge. Similarly, one should know elsewhere. So, from the subtle point of view, all knowledge of a false believer is false knowledge. All knowledge of a true believer is true knowledge. So, there is one line missing over here that you can add. All knowledge of a false believer is false knowledge. And all knowledge of a true believer is right knowledge. Okay. 6b. And if somewhere general statements are made, the same should not be treated as correct degree to degree. Okay. For example, the circumference is described to be 3 times of the diameter. You know, there is a theorem, not in mathematics, you have a formula, pi, 22 by 7, right? So, 7 3 are 21, then that means 3.1428 is the exact measurement, okay? For example, the circumference is described to be the 3 times of the diameter, but minutely speaking, it is somewhat more than 3 times. Okay. Likewise, one should know elsewhere. So, some general statements, some type of preachings, you should not believing in totality. You should consider it, right? More than 3 times, so it is exactly 3.1428. And somewhere the exposition found from the predominance point of view. The same should not be taken as stated in all respects. For example, the jivas of Mithya Drashti Gunasthan, that is first Gunasthan, and of Sasadhan Gunasthan, second Gunasthan, are described as Pap Jivas, vicious souls. Now, these Pap Jivas are just because they are having delusion. Delusion is considered to be the biggest sin. Okay. So that's why they are called Pap Jivas. The Jivas of the fourth Gunasthan, that is woeless, right believer, are described as Punya Jivas, virtuous souls. This is stated from the predominance point of view. But minutely speaking, both types of jivas may be found in smaller or greater measure, having virtuous and vicious disposition. Similarly, one should know elsewhere. So these have this Karnanuyog have this methodology of expressing things in totality, whether in reality, whereas in reality, it may not be that. Okay. So Karnanuyog's explanation should be understood in this sense only. Okay. So these were the 3 examples. In the same way, many other descriptions are found. The same should be known appropriately. Okay, somebody saying same thing from Charnan Yoga, the interpretation would have been different. Same thing should be if it is said from Dravyan Yoga, you have to interpret it differently. So you see, Jinwani have all the 4 expositions. Okay. Now you have to understand the methodology of all 4 to get the interpretations correct. Okay. If your interpretations are wrong, your doubt will not be solved. It will always persist and you will not be able to manifest the right belief. And that's why in the course Happiness, I put it second chapter was 4 exposition. First you know the methodology. Okay. And then Nischay Vyavhar. This is another way of understanding the methodology. Now, if these two are very clear, then you will be able to understand the tattvas and dravya gun paryay, krambat paryay, everything. Okay. So first you should know how the sermons are being given, from which exposition, and the methodology underlying it. If you understand all these, then you will be able to understand the concept in the right sense. Okay. And if your concepts are not clear, then you will not be able to manifest the right belief. Okay. So tattva should be very clear. Now, Charnan Yoga. Now you will
So
be understand.
which scripture uses this methodology?
Yes. So main source is the Tirthankar. Okay. So in his Divya Dvani, whatever came out, we could divide it into among 4 expositions. Okay. And those 4 expositions are this: Pratman Yoga, Charnan Yoga, Karnan Yoga, and Dravyan Yoga. Now, each has got its unique way of expressing. But the end result of all the 4 exposition is to manifest vitragta, passionlessness, nothing else. Not a single exposition will increase your attachment. All the 4 exposition are leading you towards detachment, passionlessness. Okay. So, but why 4 yogs then? Because different people have different kinds of tendency to understand things. Some are technical people, they will understand Karnan Yoga. Some are very people of less intellect, they will be interested in stories. So you convert them through stories into religion. Somebody would be interested in only outer activities, so kriya only. So for those people, Charnan Yoga has been written. So you connect from any of the exposition. Ultimately, you will be moving towards passionlessness. Okay. Now you may start with Karnan Yoga, but then you can switch over. It's not that once you have started this, now the same sentence I'm reading, I can make meanings from 4 exposition. And we have done this experiments in classes. Same example and 4 different presentations, right? So when you have all the 4 in your mind, then you are able to understand the thing in the right perspective. And when your knowledge is right, your belief becomes right. Okay. So this is how it goes. Now, Charnan Yoga, slightly simple, because here something is, whatever would be said would be said in the sense that people can follow it. Okay. It will be very gross, not very subtle like Karnan Yoga. Okay. So what should be the outer exposition? What should be your outer behavior? That Charnan Yoga will define. If you are at the 4th stage, you should have this from outside. If you are at the 5th stage, your outer activity would be of this kind. If you are in the 6th, 7th stage, your outer activity would be this kind. So Charnan Yoga sees only the external behavior, your external activity of mind, speech, and body. Internally, they have no relation. They are least concerned. They will say, if you are going to temple every day, you are doing swadhyaya every day, you are giving donations, you are doing vrata. So Charnan will say you are a right believer, although you may not be a right believer. Okay. So which is the final authority for identifying a right believer? It is Karnan Yoga. And Karnan Yoga is not something that we can comprehend. So what you can do intentionally or consistently is to study the scriptures, okay, and do what is possible at your end, okay. Rest you leave on the karma theory. When the karma has to go, it will automatically go. There is no role of yours in the karma section. So better you do what is possible at your end, and the rest you just have patience. Wait, it will happen. It will happen. When right belief will happen, if somebody gets into a tension, what will happen? Will not be able to study this also. Okay. So don't worry, just understand all the 4 different methodologies. So when next time you are reading something from Karnan Yoga, how do you will identify that this is from Karnan Yoga? If it expresses from the karmic point of view, that because of the Jnana Varna Karma, no, you are not able to know this much, you are knowing only this much. Now this is a statement from Karnan Yoga, because where karmas are involved, the Karnan Yoga is there straight away. So like that, okay. So now we'll see another 6 points in Charnan Yoga. First point is very big. Very big means 3 pages, no problem. So Himali, you read.
Yes, sir. Methodology of exposition in Charnana Yoga. Now, the methodology of exposition in Charnana Yoga is explained. In Charnana Yoga, that aspect of religious conduct has been preached in the manner which is comprehensible by Jeev. In fact, the religion is the real form of liberation path, and its instrumental causes are conventionally called religion. Therefore, from the predominance of Vyavharne, conventional standpoint, and kinds of subdivisions of various types of conventional religion, Upchar Dharam, are described in this Anuyog. Because in the real aspect of religion, Nishchay Dharma, there is no place for acceptance and renunciation of anything. And in the lower spiritual stages, it is not possible for Jeeves to give up rambling state of thoughts. Therefore, here, this Jeev is preached to give up irreligious acts and adopt religious practices. Such sermons are given in 2 forms. The one form consists of adopting conventional practices only, and the other form consists of adopting conventional practices along with real aspect of religion. Those jivas who do not possess the knowledge of Nishchay, which is the real aspect of religion, and even on preaching, they are not able to grasp it. Such false believers are preached only through Vyavhar, conventional path, when they show some interest in religion. And those Jeeves who possess the knowledge of Nishchay and Vyavhar both, or who might evolve such knowledge on being preached, such true believers and those false believers who are likely to attain right belief shortly are given sermons of conventional practices along with real aspects of religion, because the true monk preceptor is the benefactor of all Jeeves. The irrational Jeeves, that is, the mindless Jeeves, are not capable of grasping the sermons. The true monks have benefited such Jeeves by preaching other, that is, rational Jeeves, to have compassion towards such Jeeves.
Stop.
Further,
Stop. So this is a part of number 1. Still one will continue. So mostly whatever instructions are given from Charnan Yoga that are easily comprehensible by souls at large, okay. In fact, religion is the real form of liberation path, okay. So from the real point of view, what is religion? It is the path of liberation, moksha marga, and its instrumental causes are called conventionally religion, okay. So the real religion is the path of liberation, निश्चय से तो मोक्ष मार्ग, and व्यवहार से निमित्त, instrumental causes उसके निमित्त. तो it could be the vows that you take, okay. At different stages you take different kinds of vows. So at the 5th stage you are taking minor vows, but when you move ahead and go into the 6th 7th stage, it's the major vows, okay. So all these are being explained conventionally. So these are all instrumental causes. The real cause is the Ved Vigyan. Through Ved Vigyan, the internal purity that you have manifested, that is the main defining factor in the path of liberation. Okay. Therefore, the predominance of Vyavhar nahi, conventional standpoint, the kinds and subdivisions of various types of conventional religion, Upchar Dharma, are described in this Anuyog, like, donation, then compassion, then vrata, that is vows, then adoration, puja. All these are different tools of conventional religion, Upchar Dharma. Okay, so that are all part of Charnan Yoga. Because in real aspect of religion, Nischay Dharma, there is no place for acceptance and renunciation. है ना? ग्रहण भी नहीं है, त्याग भी नहीं है. From real point of view, there is no acceptance, no renunciation of anything, because one substance cannot do anything of the other. Okay. And in the lower spiritual stages, it is not possible for jivas to give up rambling state of thoughts. Vikalp chalte hain. Okay. Therefore, here this jiva is preached to give up irreligious acts and adopt religious practice. पाप को छोड़कर पुण्य में लगाते हैं. Okay. So Charnan Yoga says in that manner. Now, these sermons are given in two forms. The one form consists of adopting conventional practices only. So those souls who are not capable of understanding the real religion, the true religion, they are only given instruction in conventional form. आप माला गिनो, भक्ति करो, पूजा करो, right? He will not be able to read the scriptures and do Ved Vigyan. So he will be just tell that आप दया पालो, आप ये माला गिनो, आप भक्ति करो, पूजा करो, all these activities. Because he is not capable to accept, he is not capable to adopt the real point of view of religion. Okay. And the other form consists of adopting conventional practices along with real aspect of religion. So two categories of people, A, B. A are people of less intellect, okay, and in the right sense, if you say, they are all the misbelievers. And the second category are those people who are able to understand the real religion along with the conventional also. Okay. And those who know real point of view and conventional point of view in the true sense is a right believer. So two types of sermons are given. One who is still ignorant, he doesn't know much things, so he is given A level of sermons. And the B level one who are enlightened, for them the sermons are of different kinds. Now who are A and B? That is defined in the next paragraph. Those jivas who do not possess the knowledge of Nischay, real aspect of religion. What is the real aspect of religion? Vitrakta, passionlessness, right? And even on preaching, they are not able to grasp. They are not able to grasp it. Such false believers are preached only through Vyavhar, conventional path, when they show some interest in religion. And those jiva who possesses the knowledge of Nischay and Vyavhar both, or who might evolve such knowledge on being preached, he will be able to understand. Such true believers and those false believers who are likely to attain right belief shortly. Okay. So one is the defined category, right believers, true believers, and the other category who are not true believer right now, but they are likely to attain right belief shortly. So Maltiji, we all fall under this category. Okay. We are
Yes,
not right believer, but we are striving to be a right believer, and that's why we are reading the scriptures. Totamalji create a separate category for these kind of people, and he named it Samyaktva Sanmukh Mithya Drashti. He is still Mithya Drashti, but he is Samyaktva Sanmukh. In some time, he will be manifesting the right belief. He is in the process. Okay. So these are the two categories. One who are already a right believer, and one those false believers who are likely to attain right belief shortly. How you can say that he will attain right belief shortly? Because the activities that he is doing is all correct. That is how you manifest the right belief. So he is in the process, he is in the right process. So one who is in the right process, it will take some time, but ultimately he will definitely develop right belief. If not in this birth, then next birth. Because the soul is the same. The journey continues. And that's how we have so many right believers in subhuman state. Because they were humans like us. They were studying the scriptures. But as I said just a few minutes ago, that karma's development is something not in our hand. The delusion has to go. Delusion is a karma prakriti. Okay. So that karma prakriti has to get reduced. So he was trying. He was trying here. He was putting his efforts here. And simultaneously there was something happening at the karmic level. Okay. So those karmas prakritis were going away. But if it is not completely subsided or eradicated, right belief doesn't manifest. So that could not happen in this birth. But the process was initiated. So even if we went into subhuman state, the same process continued. And at some point of time, that karma prakriti got detached, and here the right belief evolved. Although there were no such instrumental causes present, like in the case of lion, Mahavir Bhagwan, in the birth of lion manifested right belief. So there were no Sat Tattvas, there was no preachings. Only seeing the two monks, he manifested right belief. So these things happen, So this is how two categories. One who are already a true believer, and the other who are false believer, but likely to attain right belief shortly, are given sermons of conventional practices along with real aspect of religion, because the true monk is the benefactor of all jivas. So true monks is also benefactor of enlightened soul, is also benefactor of those souls who are not enlightened now, but they are in the process. And the third category, who are not at all enlightened souls, but he is the benefactor of all. So how he could benefit those people who are not that much intellectually strong? How they benefit him? Consider the souls like 1 sense, 2 sense, 3 sense. They don't have any effort. So how do the monks benefit them? So they instructed us that you take care when you walk. That 1 sense being is also a soul like you. That 2 sense being is also a soul like you. Just have compassion on them. Okay, don't be irresponsible. Don't act in negligence. You will be responsible for bondage of karmas. All these instructions was given to us so that we can develop a feeling of compassion towards such 2 sense, 3 sense, 4 sense being. They have only one way traffic, Old karmas are getting matured, new karmas are binding. No efforts over there. Up to 5 sensed being without mind, no efforts. Only those people who have got minds, they can put in efforts, and for them the instructions are given. Otherwise, there is no point in giving instructions. Okay? The irrational, mindless jivas. Okay? Mindless jivas are from 1 sense to 5 sensed. Okay? 5 sensed have two categories. One with mind, one without mind. There are snakes who have mind, and there are snakes who doesn't have mind. There are frogs who have mind, and there are frogs who don't have mind. Many animals are such, they have both categories. Some are having mind, some are not having mind. So the irrational mindless jivas are not capable of grasping the sermons. The true monks have identified, the true monks have benefited such jivas. How they benefit? By preaching other rational jivas to have compassion towards such jivas. Okay. In this way, he has done welfare for both, all the three categories. The irrational mindless people, the mindful people who are still not right believer, and the mindful people who are the right believer. So the monks are doing welfare of all people in mind. They have welfare of all people in mind. Further, now you continue. So this paragraph further is A1, then A2. So A category is one who are only given instruction of conventional practices only. And then we have B1 coming up, and the jivas who have attained the liberation path. Third paragraph is B1. Then okay, then we have A3 coming up again in conventional form of teachings, that is A3. The next paragraph is B2, okay, and then the next two paragraphs are only related to A again, and then the next paragraph is B, okay. So in this way we will move. So first A1 and A2, two paragraphs only. Read, Himali.
Yes, sir. So they are called Samyak what Mithya Drishti?
Samyaktva Sanmukh.
Sammuk. Sammuk.
Samyak Samyaktva.
Samyaktva Sanmukh Mithya Drashti.
Okay. Right. A1. Further, there are some jivas who cannot attain the right path of liberation due to the predominance of karma. The preceptor monks have benefited such jivas through discourses of Vyavhar Dharma, conventional form of religion, by engaging them to adopt virtuous conduct, being the cause of sensual pleasures and good state of existence, and by discouraging them from vicious acts, being the cause of miseries and evil state of existence. Such jivas are benefited to the extent to which miseries are reduced. A2. Further, the sinner is found possessing sinful instincts and attains evil state of existence where the instrumental cause of religion does not exist. Therefore, traditionally, he continues suffering from miseries only, and the pious person is found possessing pious instincts and attains good state of existence where the instrumental causes of religion are found. Therefore, traditionally, he attains happiness, or if the power of karmas gets reduced, then he may even attain the liberation path also. Therefore, the preceptors encourage Jeeves through conventional discourses to adopt virtuous acts and discourage them to give up vicious acts.
So now this discourage them has to be cancelled. Okay, just cancel both words. It's not there in the Hindi one, and it also against the meaning. Why should we discourage them to give up? Vicious acts should always be given up any point of time. Okay, so discourage them has to be cancelled. Everyone do the corrections. Okay, so in A1 and A2, so the monks, those category of people who are less intellect, they are given only conventional instructions, and those instructions are there for just to get them involved in auspicious activity and leave the inauspicious activities. And with auspicious activity, if their upadan gets ready, they may also attain the path of liberation. Okay, that's a possibility. But if he is in inauspicious activity, then there is no chance. Okay, so the monks are very compassionate to all living beings. So they did this much, that you don't get into vicious acts, get into auspicious act. That much only they can do at this point of time. Now we will discuss those jivas who have attained the path of liberation, those who are enlightened souls. For them, what is the instructions given by the monks? Just see B1, next paragraph. Himali.
And the Jeeves who have attained the liberation path or are capable of attaining it are benefited by actuating them to follow liberation path through preachings of conventional practices along with the real aspect of religion. In this way, the true preceptor monks render benefaction to all Jeeves But if such benefaction is not availed by some Jeev, then what can the true preceptors do? Whatever benefaction is possible, they do it. Therefore, the sermons are given in two forms.
Okay, very clear. Now, again, second point. This is, again, we are coming
A3.
back to the, A3. This is A3. Okay. Then B2 will come. So, in between one paragraph is again for those people who are only instructed the conventional form.
A3.
A3, yeah.
In
Madhuji, you
conventional,
read. Madhuji, you read.
Yes, sir.
Hmm.
In conventional form of preachings, there is the predominance of external activities only. By following them, the jiva quits the vicious acts and adopts virtuous acts. They, according to the external activities, the inner thoughts also get released from intense passion and become of the order of feeble passion. So, chiefly it is so, but someone may or may not evolve feeble passion. The true preceptors give sermons of observing external rituals only with the object of improving thoughts and the dispositions.
So
And
you see this conventional form again, there is a predominance of external activity. So when you are into chanting, at that point of time, you don't have any thoughts on TV, right? So this much is benefit they are getting, and they are anyways not going to able to grasp the real religion, right? The real point of view. So they are just instructed, you get into good activities, you do jap, you go to the on the top of the mountain and practice standing on one leg. So these kind of instructions the monks give, because in the monks congregation there are 25,000 sadhus, all are not right believers. Okay, so they have to see what levels they are in, and they are all very psychologists, these monks. So they understand that what he is capable of. So he gives instructions accordingly. And to also householders also, they also are able to make out who is very promising, who is not very promising, as the teachers does in a class. Teachers knows who is going to come first, who is going serious, who is not serious, who is mischievous. So similarly these monks also, and accordingly they give the instructions. Okay, now coming up is B2. Okay.
So,
Hmm.
sir, you've been teaching for so many years. Can you also tell who is serious and who is not?
No, I am not that expert. I myself is a student. I'm just learning from you all also. Okay. So nothing more. And in the sermons of Vyavhar, conventional path along with Nischay. So this is B2. Okay. Real aspect of religion, the predominance is of the thoughts and dispositions only. In the previous paragraph, the predominance was on external activity. Now, the second category, B2, here they say the predominance is of thoughts and disposition only. Through its preaching, if someone tries to improve his thoughts by means of practice of Tattva Gyan, Ved Vigyan, and contemplation about renunciation, then one's external activity also get improves in accordance with thoughts. So there is an instrumental cause and effect relationship between our thoughts and activity. If our thoughts are cruel, our external activity will be of that level only. Okay. If our thoughts are good, our external activity will also be that like that. Okay. On improvement of thoughts, the external activities also invariably get improved. Therefore, the true preceptors predominantly give sermons of improving the thoughts. Motivational, all these motivational speakers, what they do? They just transform your thought levels, thought process. Okay. You believe that you are just capable of passing. They say, no, you are capable of getting 80%. They motivate them. And the students start teaching and working hard, and they come out with good marks, 80 marks. So now you will say, now you are capable of getting first rank. So this is how the motivation is given. Okay. So we all need motivation at some time or the other. Okay. So that's why our Jinwani is always giving our motivation. Never a day goes when you read Jinwani, you are not happy. Every time you read Jinwani, you become happy because there are good things written about us, that you are the pure soul. You are not the body that you think of yourself. Okay. You are something more than that. You are capable of manifesting omniscience knowledge. This is your capacity. Okay. So this way, monks and acharyas have different ways of motivating people. Now, we will consider 3 gems: Samyak Darshan, Samyak Gyan, Samyak Charitra, from A category and from B category. Okay. If the monks wants to give instructions on right belief, right knowledge, and right conduct, what he will give to A category people, the ignorant people, the less intellect people, and what instructions he will give to the B category people, those who are true believers and those who are on the path to becoming a true believer. Both of them would be instructed. Okay. So we will see in terms of Samyak Darshan, in terms of Samyak Gyan, and in terms of Samyak Charitra. So next paragraph is for the A category people. Okay, next 2 paragraphs. Read, Madhuji, continue.
Yes, sir. Thus, out of 2 forms of these sermons, where the Vyavahara religion only is preached, there, for attaining right belief, the preceptors preach to develop faith in Arhant Dev, that is, passionless omniscient God, Nirgranth Guru, possessionless naked monk preceptor, and Daya Dharma, non-violence religion, only and not to have faith in any other deity, etc., and to have faith in Vyavahar form of jivas, etc. Tattvas, not to get involved in doubt, etc., 25 blemishes, and to develop qualities like doubtlessness, Nishank- Nishankita Ang, etc., and Samveg, or towards miseries of worldly existence, etc.
Stop.
And
So this is only Samyak Darshan. Okay. Now, Hemali just realize the difference. Okay. So this is Samyak Darshan for the people who are A category. Okay. So for them, just follow true God, true scriptures, true monks, and don't get into false God, false scriptures, and false monks. This is the first in terms of Samyak Darshan. Okay. And even if the 7 fundamentals you want to understand, you understand the Vyavahar form, the conventional form, and not the real form, because these are A category of people. Okay. And in terms of this 25 blemishes, okay, we will be explaining the 25 blemishes. Okay. So in 25 blemishes, there are 8 doubts, etc. qualities, then 8 types of pride, 8 plus 8, 16, 6 anayatan. Anayatan is what? Kudev, Kuguru, Kusastra और उनके सेवक. And then we have 3 mudta. Again 3 mudta में Kudev, Kuguru, Kusastra की सेवा. All these I am going to teach tomorrow. So this 25 without 25 blemishes and with 8 anga. Nishankit, Nikankshit. Okay, these are 8 ang, and then additional 4 ang: Samveg, Anukampa, Prasham, and Astika. These are 4. These will also be explained tomorrow. But in Chedala, these were all there. Okay, we have done Chedala, so you are well aware. If you want to revisit it, you refer to the 3rd Dal. Okay, 3rd Dal, all these are explained. Now the second one regarding Samyak Gyan and Samyak Charitra. What they have to say to those people of A category is the next paragraph. I am reading only. There are 20 minutes left and I'll just try to finish this one. And for attaining right knowledge, the preceptors teach to study the scriptures containing Jina's preaching. Okay. And make effort for understanding the true meanings of the words properly. Okay. So right knowledge, for attaining right knowledge, the preceptors preach to study the scripture containing Jina's preaching and not any other scriptures. Okay, Kudev, Kuguru, Kusastra ke scriptures nahi padna, and only those Jina's preachings that has come through the lineage of Jina's preachings, Jina's Divya Dvani. Okay, that much only you should read. And in terms of Samyak Charitra, what they instruct, and for evolving right conduct, the true preceptors preach to give up sins like violence, etc., 5 sins, partially or completely. If you are giving up partially, then you are become a votary. If you are giving up completely, then you become a monk. And to observe vows, etc. And if some jiva is not found capable of following the higher grade of religion, that is the major vows, then the preceptor sermonizes him to take or follow one particular vow only. For example, now this is a very good example. For example, the tribal person, Bhil, okay? These are nomads, they live in jungle, and what they eat for livelihood, you know? What is their livelihood? Just to hunt the animals and eat it. That is their activity. Okay. So, for example, the tribal person Bill was advised to give up eating the meat of cow. You know. So, monk saw a tribal person in the forest, and monk you realize that this is a person who is going to transform in the next birth itself. Okay. So, seeing him to be capable of that, he told him to give up meat completely. So then what that Bill says, you know, that Bill says, monk, I cannot give up meat completely because that is my livelihood. Right? We don't earn money, we don't do business. So that is my livelihood. For my survival, I killed animal and eat them. So then monk told him that only, okay, you just give up eating up the meat of crow. Okay. So then he agreed. Okay, I will just give up meeting of crow. Okay. But he took such a vow that after some time he fell ill, and the doctor was called, and doctor recommended to eat the meat of crow. So then he said, no, I have given promise to the monk. I will not consume the meat of crow. Let me die, but I won't eat. And with that vow, he became Raja Shrenik in the next birth. And in the next 24 Tirthankars, he is going to become the first Tirthankar. Now you just see a small vow of giving up meat of crow led him to such a transformation. Okay. But monk knew it, so he told him. Okay. Another example, the cowherd. Kunkunda Acharya in his earlier birth was a cowherd, Govala. The cowherd was preached to chant Namaskar mantra. He was not a Jain, but the monk told him to chant Namaskar mantra, and the householder to construct the Jina's temple. Okay. And to engage in worship, propagation of religion, etc. Thus, sermons are given as per the capacity of jiva. So, this was for the first category, A category people. Now, what the monk would instruct in terms of manifesting right belief, right knowledge, and right conduct to a person of B category, who is either a true believer or who is in the process of being a true believer. Okay. Further, where the discourse is given of Vyavahar along with Nischay, therefore attaining right belief, the preceptors sermonize to evolve faith in real tattvas. In earlier paragraph, for the only conventional practice believer, it was said that you have faith in Vyavahar 7 fundamentals. And here it is saying that real 7 fundamentals. Okay. The real nature of tattvas is true, bhutards, and their conventional form is superimposed. With such faith and through the discrimination of self and non-self, swa or par, and with the object of giving up attachment, etc., in non-self substances, the preceptor preaches to evolve faith in those tattvas. Okay. And once they develop faith in those tattva, they become a right believer. This is also explained that by developing such faith, the deities other than Aryant, etc., are perceived to be false. Then automatically the belief in them gets quit. So this was about right belief. Now what about right knowledge? Now it starts. And for attaining right knowledge, the preceptors preach to know these tattvas doubtlessly. So there was doubt, sanshay, and here it says doubtlessly. Okay. To preach to know these tattvas doubtlessly in their real form. Okay. So there are three qualities: sanshay, vibram, anadyavasai. All these three has to be renounced. Okay. So to know these tattvas doubtlessly in their real form, the instrumental cause for attaining such knowledge is the study of Jain scriptures. So you should avoid other scriptures and read Jain scriptures. Therefore, for achieving this purpose, the study of Jain scripture automatically takes place. Okay, so this much for right knowledge. Now, right conduct. What instruction is given? And for evolving right conduct, the preceptors preach to give up passions like attachments, etc. There on partial or total destruction of intense attachment, etc. passions, the sinful activity which was existing partially or completely due to their instrumental effect gets quit. And in the presence of feeble passion, weak passions, the practicing of vows worthy of a Shravak, votary householder, and a Muni, homeless and possessionless naked ascetic, is found, and on destruction of feeble attachment also, the conduct of Shuddhupyog, pure passionless conduct of the self, is evolved. This is also described in this Anuyog, that is Charnan Yog. Further, whatever real invocation, worship, propagation of religion or meditation, etc., are found associated with a true believer having right faith, the same are preached here. Okay. The preachings are given in accordance with the true traditional path described in Jina's religion. Thus, one should know the two forms of discoursing the people. Okay, this is the end of point number 1. Now, the point number 2. So, all in total, we have 6 points. This is point number 2. Further in Charnan Yoga, discourse is given for giving up the acts of intense passions and adapting the acts of feeble passion. So from intense passion, they are taking you towards feeble passion. Okay. Although indulging in passion is assuredly harmful, even it is mild passion, but it is still harmful. Yet, if total renunciation of passion is not possible, then in whatever measure passions are reduced, to that extent one is benefited. Such is the purpose of these preachings. Okay. So Charnan Yoga preaches in this manner. If you are not able to giving high passions, get into low passions. Okay. For example, such jivas who are not able to give up totally the desire of indulging in household activities, constructing temple, etc., enjoying carnal pleasures, indulging in anger passions, etc., are preached to engage themselves in the acts of worshipping, spreading the truth, constructing and decorating the Jin's temple, etc., or dancing, singing religious song before Jina's idols, etc., or helping the religious persons. Because traditionally in these activities, passions are not fostered. Okay. On the contrary, passions gets mild when you indulge in such activities. But in sinful activities, traditionally, the passions are fostered. Therefore, the jivas are preached to give up sinful acts and to engage in aforesaid act. Further, in whatever small or great measure, sinful acts are likely to be given up In that measure, the jiva is preached to give up sinful acts and to develop right belief and partial vows. Okay. And those jivas who have totally given up the desire of indulging in household activities are preached to give up aforesaid virtues, activities like worship, etc. Means he is discussing about the monks. Okay. And by relinquishing all sinful acts. So who can relinquish all sinful acts? Only the monks. Okay. They are the follower of major vows, Mahavrat. Okay. And the householder are the follower of minor vows, Anuvrat. So Anuvrat have partially renounced sins and the monks have fully renounced sins. Further, in whatever this was done, and those jivas who have totally given up the desires of indulging in household activities, so really, but if it is known that the passions are only partially reduced, then such jivas are preached to adopt the activities of compassion, religious preaching, observing pratikaman, repentance for the faults done knowingly or unknowingly, etc. Okay. So if the passions are partially reduced, then this kind of activities emerge, automatically emerge. We don't have to plan, you know. So when your stage will increase from 4th to 5th, you will automatically have feelings to do all these minor vows. It automatically comes. Wherever passions in their totally are found to have been destroyed, there remains nothing to be done. So when the passions are completely destroyed, which spiritual stage? Emily?
So the 12th.
Yes, very good. 12th. Okay. So when you reach the 12th stage, there remains nothing to be done. Therefore, they need no preachings. Such is the sequence to be followed in the path of liberation. This was second point. Now, the third point. Further in Charnan Yoga, even by arousing passion, the passionate beings are encouraged to give up sinful acts and to follow religious practice. So on one hand, they are arousing passions, okay, to give up major passions. So smaller passions are being practiced to give up major passions. Example, by arousing fear passion through description of hellish miseries to be the result of sinful acts, the jivas are encouraged to give up sinful acts. तुम ये करेगा तो नरक में जाएगा. Okay, so this is actually you are creating fear passion. आप डरा रहे हो ना, तो you are creating fear passions, but these are practiced in Charnan Yoga. Okay, this is Charnan Yoga. So they will give instructions like this. The jivas are encouraged to give up sinful acts and by arousing greed passion, lobh, through the description of pleasures of heaven. पूजा करो, स्वर्ग मिलेगा. So you are giving him greed, right? In for kids also you do like this, no? Your kid wants cycle, so you say you study properly, I will buy you a cycle. So we all give such kind of motivation for kids also. So same way here the monks are giving motivation to us. So they say, they describe the pleasures of heavens, etc., to be the fruits of virtuous deed. The jivas are actuated to follow religious deeds. And this jiva indulges in sin due to feeling of attachment towards sensual pleasures, body, son, wealth, etc., and remains disinterested in religion. So for those people, by describing the sensual pleasures to be the cause of death, okay, if you indulge in sensual pleasures, you can also get into death also. Okay. Afflictions. The feeling of detachment is aroused in them. By describing the body, etc., to be impure, the disgust passion is aroused there. Okay. So they are taking up one subject at a time. Sensual pleasures they have described. Now they are describing body. Then they will describe sun. Then they will describe wealth. Okay. By describing the body, etc., to be impure, the disgust, passion is aroused here. So they are arousing one passion and getting rid of the major passions. Okay. By describing the sons, etc., to be the partaker of wealth, okay, etc., aversion is aroused in them. So you were so much attached to your children, so Acharya wants to arouse aversion in them by telling them that they are only after your wealth, they are all very selfish persons. Okay, in this way they arouse aversion in them. And by describing wealth, etc., to be the cause of death, afflictions, etc., the feeling of disliking is aroused in them. So all these activities, if you see, the acharyas are arousing one kind of passion to get rid of some major passions. By adapting such different means, the intense attachment in the sensuous objects, is destroyed, and they are encouraged to give up sinful acts and start following religious practices. Further, by chanting the name of Supreme Souls, invocation, worship, charity, chastity, etc., the afflictions of poverty, etc., gets finished in this world, and sun, wealth, etc., are attained. Through such description, great passion is aroused, and jivas are encouraged to follow religious practices. Similarly, one should know other example. Here lies a question as to what is the purpose of arousing one type of passion by discouraging to give up another type of passion. This is the question. Answer. With this, we will complete the point number 3. Okay. Then 4, 5, 6 will remain, and that we will do in the next class. Okay. Answer. Severe cold, typhus, and fever both are diseases. But if the physician diagnoses that someone is dying due to severe cold, typhus, then he makes effort to develop fever in him, because he will die. If I don't develop fever, then he will die. So he gives medicines to develop fever in them. And after the fever has developed, if the chance of his surviving be there, then afterwards he tries to eradicate the fever also. Okay. Similarly, all passions are worth giving up, but knowing that some jivas are indulging in sinful acts due to passional feelings, the true preceptors try to arouse such passions in them, which encourages them to follow virtuous acts. Later on, if it is found that such persons have developed religious instinct, then they discourage them to uproot the passions. Such is the purpose. Okay. Fourth point will also be completing, small point. So we will complete, we have still 3 minutes left. Okay. Fourth point. Now fourth point starts. Further in Charnan Yoga, through different reasonings, descriptions are made in such a manner that the jivas are encouraged to follow religion by quitting sinful acts. This we are seeing common across all the points. To give up sinful acts and to adopt religious practices. The true preceptors explain through worldly illustrations, okay, worldly illustrations, logic, examples, judiciously, and sometimes they quote examples from other religions also. The purpose is to make them understand, okay. So they will quote from worldly examples also, other religions also, no harm in it, because the purpose is to give up sinful acts and get into religious acts. Okay. As in Sukta Muktavali. Now this Sukta Muktavali is a scripture written in other religion, not in Jainism. Okay. As in Sukta Muktavali, the goddess Lakshmi is described to be an inhabitant of lotus flower. And from the viewpoint that both poison and Lakshmi are the product of ocean, okay, she is stated to be the sister of poison. So in the same way, descriptions are made elsewhere also. Now in this example, they try to say at one place they have described Lakshmi as the lotus flower, and other they have described Lakshmi to be the sister of poison. So do different kinds of explanation to justify those arguments, nothing else. So our acharyas also give examples from other scriptures. This was written 300 years ago. Todarmalji wrote that, read that scripture of other religion also at that point of time. So he adapted that example from there. Nothing wrong in it because the purpose is the same. In the same way, descriptions are made elsewhere also. Although many of such examples, etc., are false, yet they foster the real purpose. Therefore, there is no fault in this. Somebody may say here that the fault of falsehood lies here. Answer: even if it is false but fosters the real purpose, then it is not treated to be false. Sometimes you tell the kids that do this, otherwise bhoot will come. Right? So you want to scare them. Why? Because the real purpose is to leave those sinful activities. Okay. So purpose is correct. So there is no harm in that. And if it is true also, but fosters false purpose, then in reality it is false only. Here the real purpose is true. So it is not considered as false. In the use of rhetoric, alankar, alankar, logic, yukti, naming, etc. The truth and falsehood are not decided on the basis of words, but on the basis of purpose. What purpose it is serving? For example, a town with some decoration, little bit of decoration, is stated to be similar to Indrapuri, heavenly town. Although in reality it is not a heavenly town, but some decorations are seen. So to motivate, you say that it's an Indrapuri, heavenly town. This is obviously false, but because it fosters the purpose of decoration, it is not treated to be false. And in this town, stick is found with the umbrella and nowhere else. This is obviously false because use of stick is found elsewhere also. But because unlawful persons are very few there and lawful persons are not punished, since it fosters this purpose, hence it is not false. Okay. So there are many lawful persons. So they say that in this city, sticks are not found because sticks are required for giving punishment. And there are all lawful persons. They are not infringing the law. So they are not to be punished. Okay. So these kind of explanations are given as per Charnan Yog. Further, Jupiter is Brihaspati, Vishnu. Jupiter's name is written as Sur Guru, the perceptor of gods, and Mars, Mangal Graha, Mars' name is written as Kuja. So such names are taken from other faiths. Other faiths also names are taken. Their literal meaning is false, but that name signifies the meaning of that particular thing which they want to explain. Therefore, it is not false. Thus, the examples, etc., are drawn from other faiths all are false. Here, the objective is not to foster faith in those examples, but to foster faith in the purpose, and because the purpose is true, hence there lies no fault. So, this kind of description we will find in Charnan Yoga. So, take it in the right manner. Okay. These are not false because the purpose is not false. So, this is the end of the point number 4 and end of our time also. So, 5th and 6th 2 points are still left that will cover up in the next class and then we will move forward. Okay. Any questions for now today? ओके। निज निधि निज में बताई यह अनंत उपकार है, उसके लिए जिन वाणी माँ को वंदना सत बार है, उसके लिए जिन वाणी माँ को वंदना सत बार है। 9 times नमोकार मंत्र।